There we go.
There we go. Oh my God.
That better?
Oh my God.
This is
So,
Deron.
hi. Those of you that know me, good to see you again. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Lewis. I've known Darren since he was about 16. And for those of you that may not remember me, hello, my name is Ludwig, sometimes King of Gypsy. Nice to meet you again. So, Darren, me, and Don over here are the ones that originally started Shatterdragon back in the day. So, for all you Shatterdragon people here, good to see you again, and thank you for being a part. Like I said, Darren and I met about the time that he was 16, I was 17. And I don't remember 100% of how we met, but he was partially cured Terry, his sister, as well. I kind of knew everybody in that group. I don't remember exactly how we became friends, but it was pretty much instant. Oh, did I? It may have been. It may have been. Through a mutual friend, Mark Trevor, and there was another one named Paul. That we kind of hung around each other. And we won't talk about the trouble that we got in college, yachting, and, handcuffs were involved at one point. That's long past. But no, when I met him, we instantly became friends. Just don't know what it was. And I can tell you that through hanging out with him, I truly would find my sarcasm, even to the point of being mean sometimes, which we both do. Now, we're having a little bit of a rock and roll war over here, and I was standing over here with a white shirt and a tie on, but don't be fooled. It's a Jerry Garcia tie with the white gold t-shirt underneath. I've enjoyed the playlist. I picked a bunch of songs that Darren and I listened to back in the day, and then put it on randomize. There's actually 5 hours on there. Maybe that'd be good that long. What I want to do now is, I'd like to open the floor for anybody who would like to come up and say something. The mic will be here. Just feel free to pick it up and say a few words. With the exception maybe of Don, who will say more than a few words.
Gift to gab, baby. Gift to gab.
No, you're welcome. And I would especially love to hear any story you have of your time with you. If you have one for me, we'll do them more for us here.
Oh, and they're going to be bringing out churros, too.
They're bringing out churros, guys.
He was a good guy, with a lot of different faces. And I can see that underground. I appreciate everybody who's here today. And I just want to say, it would really be nice if he would take that memory book, spoken down, and put something in it that you remember about him that I wasn't there. I wasn't always there. And he could have more fun that I didn't get to have. It just wasn't fair. But that's the trouble with parents. Yeah, you guys go off and have a good time. Anytime everything goes wrong, that's I think he was a fabulous musician. I made a mistake marrying his father because his father didn't like musicians. And that wasn't good for Darren. I didn't want him to be a musician because it's a hard life. It's a fun one, but it's a hard one. I think he enjoyed himself. I hope he enjoyed himself. His life was too short, but better to have a short one that you enjoy than just to trudge through and not feel anything. So I know to be that view in his life, and that meant that it was a good life. Please fill out the little forms. Just take a page. Say, I remember when we were such and such here. He was talking to me on Tuesday. Somebody else take his name. Anyway.
Woo! Right behind you.
Hello. My name is Aaron. One of the first people I met in San Diego when I transplanted from Texas. I met him through the band Disco, through the music scene. Like she said, he was just an amazing musician to the point it looked pretty effortless, which was
because any people around him. Of course, he always had some amazing just tone and gear and all that stuff. Definitely envious of that. Above all that, he was always super kind to me, super funny. My name's Aaron. He would call me Aronicus. He plays some amazing gigs together. We opened up for Power Band 5 times, and that was a pretty cool gig. But above that, he let me live with him for a while when I was kind of down and out. I would just let me stay. Just stay. It was cool. So that was really appreciate him doing that. And sorry about all the honestly. When the last, not the last conversation, but we had you a little bit, not so long ago. And we would talk about politics a lot. And generally, it's always fine. No problems. This one got a little bit heated, but this text and message, like, hey, dude, sorry. A little bit too much on politics, take it personally. And the last text I got back again was emojis.
Spot on. Yep.
Basically, given that, this people here to celebrate his life, it's awesome. So,
Sister.
My name is Tara, and Darren was my younger brother. It's kind of weird to have your younger brother going before you, but I knew that was going to happen when we were still teenagers. He bragged. He bragged. He was like, I'm going to do the fast life. And he did. He was brilliant and funny and wonderful and terrible. He was just everything. He was the whole world, all back there. And we weren't close again. We were on the fritz. I'm sorry that was the way it was. Certainly, my life would have been very different without it. He was, I can't say this enough. He was fabulous, and he was a jackass, and he was everything. He just was everything. He was the whole ball. He wanted to look fast. I don't know if many of you remember the original Blade Runner, at the end dying scene of Rutger Hauer's character, where, he starts to value all life and he saves Harrison Ford's character. And Darren was kind of that scene. Wanted to live hard and fast, and he wanted to get it all. And he kind of did. There wouldn't be a life that most of us would want. But it was the life he wanted. And he bragged. He didn't want to go. He wanted to live now. And he did. And if you look at what he wanted out of life, his life was a perfect success. Obviously, the last 5 years of medical problems and suffering were not a part of that. But he used to brag how he wanted to live, and he did it. How many people get to say that? I'm sad it's not the future. I'm sad that the times that we had were truncated before he was gone. He got what he wanted. And it's a bit selfish of me to want something different here. So I think it's really sad that I won't get to hear his humor anymore. He was absolutely insane. He hated the fact that I had no sense of humor. He would be like, oh God, I'm stuck with my sister and my father. Oh my God. Bird. Just to get us to shut up with our logical facts. And he wasn't what my father wanted. That's the truth. My father would have wanted a juicy lawyer or an economist or something else. But Jared got what he wanted. He got what he wanted out of his life. And I don't know how better we could define success. Here's to a life that got lived exactly how he wanted to do it. I kind of wish he hadn't had the suffering at the end, but he got everything he wanted. Everything. Next journey, dude. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Connie.
I met Darren because Troy and I were very good friends, and we would all go party at our house, and he was there. So I said, "Yeah, that's a cool little dude," And he was the coolest dude. And I didn't grow up with race based and SCA stuff, and so this is how I got into it. Just I'm gonna try to keep this as clear as possible now, and so ahead of time. But the rumor about going to work fair is like a lot of fun, but you go to war
They'll say, if you can't get laid up or you can get laid. So it's like, okay. And you guys know it's rap, those who are clapping. That's what's weird, right? So I wanted to go, but I wasn't into all. And I wanted to go instead. And Darren was my protector. So anytime, Daddy would just tempted me, well, I think like that, I was like, because Darren ain't got older brother. And just know you stick with me, you'll be okay. Because I could remember the women being pulled out of tents and middle of the night and stuff like that. And so Darren would always protect me until one night, and I guess I drank way too much. Yeah. I drank juice. Juice. The Don's fault. And I think I know. And I think it was Mia because I can't remember. But all I hear is, get out of the tent. You get out of the tent. And I'm like, dang. Let's, and they pulled me out of the tent and walked me around the campfire. And Darren comes out and says, leave her alone because Darren was just sister. So he tried to protect me that night. They walked me around the tent, then they let me go and hit the ground, crawl back into the tent with the city. But Darren was always there to protect me, to keep any of the other stuff from happening. And that is why I cherished him so much. I kept it clean as
Woo! Woohoo!
I think very the further from Saturday into the next generation.
Connie apparently doesn't remember her fun little episode. I was trying to get there, but I had people between us. I was on one of my let's go did the greatest calls to until 4 in the afternoon and leaving the station on the driving events. That's how I say it. And so I was trying to get there, and some guy was on with Darren, and hit on his friend. Darren hadn't hit on her; he followed in, and he was picking a fight with her because he was picking a fight with Darren. And Connie said, "That's my brother. Leave my brother alone." Like I didn't believe any of this because what I know exactly what it was, you know. And he grabs a hold of Darren. And the next thing you know, Connie with her nice little uppercut, and then she stepped on him. She's like, "You won't talk white, brother." That she came in with the left uppercut, just the right was in the way, and she just knocked him out. And Jared's like, "See that most." You don't remember that, do you? Oh my God, I was trying to get there and too many people were in the way, so she got the fun. She got the fun. Derek was always being protected by the women in his life, like Connie over here. Like, I didn't realize you didn't know that story. Like it was.
Oh no, we had stepped back door. I know the juice.
Promise I won't tell that story. I met Darren, I think it was 89, thanks to Louis. Well, no, it's totally your fault. I'm native of Arizona. It's a basic community college out here. Time zone changed. What the hell is a time zone? I don't know time zones. I'm Arizona. We have one time. You don't change it. I ended up showing up to my computer class 2.5 hours early. For my 8 a.m. class, I showed up at 6:30 in the morning. So I went to sleep beside the door. Louis was in my class. We started talking. Well, we got to his class. Found out I liked to play D&D. He said he had a group. I went to Mom's house. I got to meet Darren, Jason, Bill, and Luke. They embraced me instantly. You picked on Louis. You picked on Jason. Everyone picked on me. One of my fondest memories was going to the Whiskey A Go-Go with them. What you need to remember is they were all a bunch of heavy metal long hairs. Thick leather jackets, spikes, Brotherton's big old spikes on his shoulder. The preppy. I couldn't grow my hair long curls. Darren was the first to pick on me when I tried to do it. So wow, they really got looking at my whole finger up there. We go there. Everybody's standing around. We're having fun. Guy walks up to me, and because I'm clueless, he goes, "Hey, can you hook me up?" Oh, I think that girl over there at the bar is single. But she shot down the last 3 or 4 guys. Oh, dude, can you hook me up? Why are you asking me? Look at this guy. Darren, standing next to me. Just standing there. Why are they asking me? You know, looks like he has any money. Obviously, we're buying it off of you. Thanks for letting me know, Darren, before you take me to the Whiskey a Go-Go, the drug dealer of the group. But this was Darren. He would let you do whatever you wanted to do, and then he'd rub your nose in it. I was so happy. We drifted apart when I moved back. We were roommates. I moved back to Arizona. He moved, I'm not even sure where. We were at Studio City. The day I moved, and this movie at 6 a.m., was when one of the earthquakes hit, and our apartment had a underground garage. Whole thing, straight down. Darren decided to tell everybody, oh, see, Don left, God's sinking the place. That was Darren. Something happened. He could always put a twist on it and make it happy. When I found them again and got to go to Potrero the same year of the diagnosis, I was so happy to meet his wife. When we were roommates, it was always, I'm never going to find anyone. They play games. I don't play games. I don't play games. To the point that even, does this dress make me look fat? Yeah, we're over. Boop, gone. To hear that he found somebody and was so happy was wonderful to me because he was my brother. The same as Louie, the same as Jason, and the same as Bill. They were great men. Still are. Hey, they will have to ask the one. It hit me hard because Darren did something that few people truly were able to do. He lived his whole dream. His dream was music. Wasn't to become rich and famous. It wasn't to have everyone know his songs. It was to play music. He did that his whole life. How many of us can say the same thing? I know. He's still playing. He's playing 5 minutes after he decided to go on his journey, or as I'm now hearing a rumor of getting abducted. I got you. So, but Darren, that was the thing with Darren. Any mishap you had, he would make sure you weren't actually upset about it by teasing you horribly and making the biggest jokes out of it, and it made you feel better. I'm pretty sure he's the one that actually gave the Jungle Juice the name Jungle Juice of Love. I said, half hour after you drink it, you love everybody. Others started saying, or you get love that night. You know, and 30 plus years of my SCAing and stuff. Yep. No, I never got a hookup. I don't know what's going on with this Jungle Juice of Love. I created this stuff. I drank it. So, but you can see that Darren was loved. He was a great guy. And he still is. And you know he's looking at everyone, pointing out, look at his shirt's unfilled. You can see it up dandelion. That was Darren. He didn't want people sad. He wants everyone happy. Or to get out of his way and let him be happy. That was Darren. Tara, Mom, you guys accepted me coming in. And you put up, Tara especially, you put up with him because Darren's favorite story that, well, you know, one time she fed me chili with a tack in it. And she would always say, I did nothing. I'll attack you to the chili. Kid, you could be attacked with chili. Torment her on that. I always ask, why do you keep doing that? Someone would feel comfortable around the guys. That was Darren. He would just do stuff, say stuff, wanted everybody. So I'm so happy to see those of you that I remember that I haven't seen. Connie, I haven't seen her in 30 years. I parked next to her in the parking lot. I said, I bet that's Connie. Oh, Mia, haven't seen you in here. The last time I saw you, you came out to visit me. And that was at least, I'd say probably 35 years ago. Well, maybe not 35 years. It was 35 months ago. Yeah, we don't know. we're all young. I mean, it's nice. And it's all because of Darren. We're all here sharing. And that's the thing you remember about Darren. He doesn't want you sad. He wants you happy. He's off being abducted somewhere. I got you. I got you. Or he's just avoiding us because that's the other thing you want to do is like, I'm going to go play. Now, you'll notice at the memorial, and I let his wife know, there's a lighter on the table. That's from Bob Lord. Aaron stole lighters. He stole lighters. You were roommates. Had to go in. He'd come out. Hey, anybody got a lighter? And here you go. It's gone. You never saw a lighter. Lou and I are sitting there. We're tearing up the house. We're turning the burner on the stove to light our cigarette. We finally go into his room. He's passed out. We start emptying his jeans and his shorts. We got 25 lighters from this guy. Actually, you're right. It was 27. It was almost 30 because we were betting on whether or not we get 30. He never woke up when we were doing this while we cussed him out about these lighters. And then we decided, oh, we'll just take the ones that we know are ours and we'll back out. 20 minutes later, he walked out into the living room, looked Louie and I dead in the eyes and says, everybody got a lighter? That was yeah. Thank you all. I'm so happy to see so many people here and faces and the love and the sharing. And like Mom said, write something in the book. I'm going to write the lighter at the end of it. So I couldn't think of anything else. Oh, yes, and him and his blue trucks. Oh, yeah. He had fun in that, too. Thank you all.
Woo!
I just got a word about lighters. There's only one thing I mentioned in my will that went to Darren specifically. Oh, lighters. And there's a lot of instances. There's one more thing that I will share with you, because I didn't get to play most of these games. But one time I got consulting thing I had to do in Chile. And I got to bring somebody along. And I brought Darren. He was pretty much around town for the first couple of days because I was busy here. And then I had a day off. He said, oh, come on, we'll go over this student area. And then they have to figure out on the 17th. Well, we did. Everywhere we went in, people said, Darren! The whole town knew him. It took 3 days. They rolled out the carpet. I could have been there years and but you would have known him. She knew him, man. They didn't speak Spanish. They spoke Spanish. So I don't know how he did what you were just saying he does. But he did it and he didn't even need the language. Somebody else. Who's next?
Here, you hold this. Okay, you want to go? You go. She'll go. She's gonna go.
And then I'll cover.
Yeah, I'll go after her.
Little bit. I was roommates with Tara back in the early 90s, back when I was in the community college days. And my first recollection getting involved in Renaissance stuff was in Long Beach, where she took me with a few of her friends. I didn't even know did that. And that's soon after that is when I met Dylan. And we have a lot of things that are very in common. Oh my gosh. And I also have a brother, whose birthday is actually today, which is just a coincidence. One of many. But I'm a strong believer of things happen for a reason. And they do. So my first experiences with Renaissance stuff, SCA, was not in Shadow Dragon. It was somewhere much more miserable. So after meeting Tara, she introduced me to her brother, and that's how I got involved with SCA. And in the meantime, at that period of time, because me and Tara were roommates, and we were a lot of fun. And that's back then when I probably met Connie, and we went to the Fireside House. And the Fireside House was just one endless party. It was like, so we could go and they'd still be there the next day doing what they do. So I met a lot of interesting people there. I started going to war. Nobody will ever forget the twin towers of the Shadow Dragon. There were babies conceived there, and we'd hang out. Even now, I'm not going to wars anymore, but I have to bring 12 chairs. And my husband says to me, why do you have to bring 12 chairs? And I'm like, who's going to sit with us if they don't have a chair? So I went from one vehicle. I drove there in my little Chevy Camaro full. Yeah. I was lucky I could fit in there with all the stuff I put in there. So war to war, the towers. So let's go back to some of these pictures. It was like a brother of me because I have a brother Darren's age named Deron. Go figure. Anyway, minus the whole bunch of pictures, I was trying to figure out what happened. Well, the person who was taking those pictures was standing next to me or in front of me and Deron because I love the pictures. Anybody knows that. And they said, look this way. Look this way. Look this. That's why there's 4 or 5 pictures of us looking every. At least one of them was a good aim for each of us. Yeah, Deron had me involved. I was very involved with Shadow Dragon. It was mostly boys when I started. And then that's where I started. And that's when you started. And a few other people. And then we became a little more interspersed. But it was really a good time. They had a really good time. And the boys always watched out for us. So that was really helpful. And then a little bit later on, Tara moved over to, a lot later on, Tara moved over to Oregon. And she was always inviting me to go. And I actually went. And Deron was there at the time. And, well, she doesn't like to be around smoke, but I like to talk. And it's really shocking. And me and Deron would go outside and he'd smoke a cigarette. And he's hilarious. Deron was just comedy. He could turn anything into a deep chuckle and a laugh. So we had a good time. So he was definitely like the brother to me. 1 or 2 more things. People invited us. Deron invited us. I invited us to go to see his music. And I think I only went once or twice, and it was with Tara because I don't like music. I just don't like you. I was going to go next. But he was a musician. Let me just end this with, those who burn arthritis.
Arthritis burn the fastest.
Anyway, that describes Tara.
Hi, everyone. I don't know everybody here, but I introduced myself to Darren's family. I've been friends with Deron for like 20 years or so through the music scene. And when I met Deron, I met him because I was dating a guy in his band. And he's seen me through a couple of guys in bands, plus a husband in a band, over the last 20 years. And I just remember that, I'm kind of a weirdo. I have a crazy personality and also a strange sense of humor. And he just got me. Whenever we would talk, it was like a vortex. I would just be sucked in and we'd be laughing the whole time. And he was just always so invested in how I was doing. He took me under his wing like I was a little sister. When you have those people in your life that are just in your life, you don't know how for so long. It's not like you forced it. It's not like you make plans all the time. And he would always reach out and just be like, touching base, how you doing? My husband and I, we moved out of state about 4 years ago. And he's been consistent with staying in touch with me. He sent me a Dutch oven as soon as I moved to Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. My husband, he was in a band that played a lot with Deron. And so, like I said, a few boyfriends and a husband. He was always friends with the people that I would date because we were just in the metal scene, for so long. He was just always so kind. And just, like I said, we would just get sucked into these long conversations. And the thing is his kindness, my love language is also busting people's balls. And so he did that with me all the time. And my husband's the same way. We just banter back and forth all the time. But with Deron, it was like no matter what he said that was off the wall and weird as shit, like I always got it. And it was funny as hell. And he would do the same with me, like anything that I would say, and it would just play off of each other. And it was like just so cool. And like I said before, it was kind of like a vortex. Like I would go to his house and I would just feel this like energy just like around all of us, you know. No matter what friends are there, you know, no matter what's happening, like you said, he would just always like be able to like make things funny. You know, and he was also, like you said, kind of an asshole. He was the OG internet troll, you know, because he was that guy that was on everybody's posts calling him out about getting back and forth with people. I specifically remember talking to lots of friends that are like, oh my gosh, Deron Ireland, like I had to delete him, I blocked him, whatever it is. Because he just loved getting a rise out of people. It was like an energy thing. It was like he was testing what you were made of or something. And you guys all know that everybody who's here, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people here. We all love him, but the people that are here, you know, really loved him and really knew him. And like everybody knows how he is, so I don't need to tell you guys. But he was literally one of my best friends. And I do miss him. I felt so horrible because I was thinking hard about him about a week before I heard that he passed away. And I loved him. And you know, I miss him. And you know, I know that he's, you know, if there's an afterlife and he's here, he's listening to all of us. And he's right there on the table. He's in that urn. I got to carry him over here. Last night we went out. We were talking to him the whole time. We're in a haunted hotel right now. He would have loved that haunted hotel, Cosmopolitan Hotel. I don't know if he's been there before. It's possible he has. You know, he's been to lots of places. He loved Old Town too. But I just think that he would have been so, you know, happy to know that we're all here and talking about him and remembering his personality. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say other than I'm glad to be here. I flew out here to come and be here with all of you guys and talk about him. I knew he would want me to be here for Peasy. He always would tell me, he would reach out to me and say, you know, she's having a hard time. She lost her dad. You know, she needs female support. Can you reach out to her? Like he pushed for me to be friends with her. And so I thought that it would be the best thing, you know, for me to just come here. My husband stayed out with the kids and be there for her. And the thing that I'm doing for him right now. And yeah, that's all. I just did.
Can't leave your phone. And you're not supposed to make the cameraman cry.
Is there anybody who hasn't put a story or a comment in the little red book passing around?
You?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah. I'm guilty as charged. Is there anybody else that wants to come up at this point?
Really, dearly appreciated if you have. I thought I had more time with my husband, and you know, like really just that day, I was like, time just freeze, you know. And so, well, the story is, soon after he was found, so 2 weeks later, on his birthday. Okay, this is Deron Ireland. You're his sister, so you would know and stuff like that. This was my birthday. So, honey, you're gonna remember it. So I'm just gonna come and visit you. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't. What's funny is that I know his sense of humor, so it would be like, hi, how are you doing? Because I got drunk one night and I thought I came up the stairs. And I was like, well, even blow up the stairs, you know, my husband was telling me,
You gotta do that hair, you understand? So I wake up from this dream. I'm just wondering, what the heck are you doing here? You know? What's beautiful about that is like still incorporated my husband's energy that he was like, hey, you know. And so it's like basically, what are you doing here? You know, it's like accepting Debbie's daughter and stuff like that. Okay. Oh, I'm freaking out. And it's like, you scare me half to death. What the heck are you doing here? Stop freaking me out. And this, well, you did tell me you floated up the stairs. It was like, yeah, but that's different. Anyways, so he floated into our room, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna go back to sleep. So I go back to sleep, and then I dream that, you know, I'm talking to a therapist. No, you're not crazy. Just increase your dose and stuff like that. And it's like, no, can't you see him? He's sitting right there. I'm like, you know how doctors are. Darren was the type of guy where he was like, doctors, anybody that would be telling him like, no, you're gonna not tell me what to do. You know, I'm gonna live my own life and be independent and stuff or whatever the case was. Darren was always a free spirit, you know. So, anyways, just me dealing with him not being here and stuff like that. He's like, well, don't worry, you know, in the dream he said, I'm still right here, you know. So, but yeah, that was interesting because further in that dream, I said, can you just walk upstairs like a normal person? Because I'm like, you're not here and stuff like that, you know. But just to comfort me, can you not scare me half to death? So, but he still floats upstairs, and that was the end of the dream. That's why I like to share my experience. I always feel him close to me, and we had something special. And I'll write him a poem later, which I'll read to you guys. But here's a little moment.
Anybody else want to share about Garrett?
Anyone? Anyone? Bueller?
I personally feel Darren. He was married to my best friend. They never got to meet him. We tried to make it happen a couple different times. Just hear the stories and how happy he has been. The last 5 years has just been amazing to me. She's such a good wife, and I love her so much. And thank you all for hearing and supporting her. So yeah, and, yeah. So I'm glad you're all here. Thankful that I got to hear so many good stories so far. And thank you.
He has any more stories to sell, to tell? Yeah, you know. Yeah. So no, this is my way of. Yeah, this is my way of saying time to listen up a bit. All right, let's talk about this. Yeah, we've just connected for a few years. I had met my now wife of almost 30 years, and we moved to Minnesota and lost touch. And we got back in touch about 5 years ago, and it was kind of like the friendship never. Let me tell you something. There's no good reason why either one of us was so loved in this. None. The stuff we did, you'll notice that if you look at the pictures, you'll see one picture of a photo, but there's a young girl in the center. She was 16. Darren was 17. I was 18. There may be one or two more pictures in this world between that and 26. There's a reason there's no pictures. And we were glad. Two car accidents in a old truck. Okay? Seriously. No good reason why we were alive. We used to joke that we didn't have 9 lives like a cat. We had a second cat. Okay? We were on our second cat. And I can tell you, when I was in the hospital with Julie and Marilyn was there with me, I was sitting there, and if he had regained consciousness for even 30 seconds, I was going to rip the curtain open and yell, any other cat in here? Yeah, that was the type of humor we got. Oh, always. He was brutal. So I hear people come up and say, oh, he was a great guy, but he was also an asshole. Well, yeah, both is true. But look around this room. Look at the diversity of people in this room. So it wasn't just one group of people, one style of person, one personality. If he could push your buttons and make you upset, you'd walk away. Okay? But if you could take the bullshit he handed out, you were his best friend. Okay? He liked the guys that were tough. He liked the girls that were tough. Because if you couldn't take it, he didn't need you in his life. And at the same time, you talk about somebody who burned bright and burned fast. Oh boy. Like I said, 2 car accidents and a truck roll. And believe it or not, he wasn't even in the truck roll. We always did back then. We always did things our way. Handcuffs were involved once. And I won't go into that story. But actually, it wasn't that long after the Indian met. Well, that pretty much cemented the friendship at that point in time. Shadow Dragon days. I loved hearing about the towers. Darren and I designed those together. We built them together. They were pretty remarkable. For those of you that don't know, they were 4 foot by 4 foot by 16 foot high and had a bridge across it, an 8 foot span. Okay. First Towers Award. That was the first time that somebody had built something like that and brought it to an event. When we started Shadow Dragon, it was with the intent of being an artisan household. The SCA in the area had no clue what that concept was. It was all common. The knights reigned supreme. And so we came in and said, no, we're not going on the battlefield. I mean, if you want to be a member of our group and go on the battlefield, go right ahead. First, we ended up in Mad Valley Log. And they're laughing if you remember him. So, and that dog was, in that case, he wore the minimum protection the SCA would allow him, and he would charge an entire shield wall by himself. The guy was nuts. But we ended up with him in our camp. The idea was is that we were trying to be an artisan, music, theater, storytelling, building things. That's what our focus was. And we had the support of a baron. Plus, every knight in the kingdom hated us. Every one of them. Yeah. Actually, until the sun went down. Maybe they were over and drinking with us. They would take their nomenclature off that identified them as a knight, and then they'd sneak into our camp and get with us. Literally, we would have a security guard assigned to just our camp. And literally, I would bribe him with a bottle of scotch. Every event. He's still in the SCA. He's part of the logistics group. And I do see him every once in a while. And I remind him that I own him. So we did all sorts of crazy stuff. So there was a time, and then we talked about Jason and Bill and Greg. It was Jason Maffioli. We didn't have to give him a last name, a nickname, because Maffioli was perfect. He was half Italian, half black, but had the temper of both. Bill Rue, we mentioned, we ended up calling him Rue the Day. He was nuttier than either one of us. At least more brazen. So, and then Greg Brotherton, who was Brotron. So just so you know, at one point in time, if you lived in San Diego long enough, there was a stork on the children's hospital. For years, we had a piece of its wing. Yes. For those of you that know that lived back in that time and showed it, that was us. As we wouldn't, well, Bill got the crazy idea that we should steal the whole store. As it turns out, it was big, and we got a piece of the wing. I have no idea why I'm yelling, but that's except, it was Rue the Day. Now, there's a lot of stories that start that way. There's somebody getting a stupid or crazy idea in their head, and we go do it. Event after event, fair after fair. We drove to Estrella so many times. I remember Estrella where I think I declared an official reunion for anybody who had ever been a part, and their plus ones. And we got there, and we had picked a camping area right by the edge of the battlefield. We put up the towers, and the next thing I know, I'm looking at a camp, and I'm like, what the hell? It was a crazy weekend. I can tell you right now, I don't remember much of it. I do remember we managed to convince about 30 people that weren't part of our camp to get on the towers and try and rock them over as a stability test, which was funny. I do remember somebody coming in and informing us that our language was inappropriate, and that we shouldn't be doing such things, and we should definitely not be referring to women's appendages as what they just taught us. So I did the political thing and apologized and everything, and she walked away. As she did, her knight who had accompanied her lost his belt. This has been known of. I won't say how he lost his belt, but could be people involved. She walked away. I got up on the towers, called everybody attention, and informed them that we should not be calling women's chests audacious tatas. And if you're going to do it, please be appropriate and call them best straps of the land. Not in the straps of land. They proceeded to do that. The entire camp erupted after her, and that was pretty much it. We taught them how to be politically incorrect correctly. So there's a dozen stories like that out there. I wish I could share more of them with you, but I'll be honest with you, I can't remember all of them. A lot of it has to do with the drinking. So, oh, by the way, the hope that lost tonight, I did mail it back to the kingdom that it came from, and now we have to bury that strip of war. Not kidding. That's what started Great Lesbian. So, yeah, we started some stuff. We didn't always mean to, but there was always a ripple of that. No matter what we did, we rippled that back through the SCA to the point upon which the Camp Shadow Dragon is actually one of the only households in Calafia to ever be banned permanently. All right, this is why we were banned. We started something called the slave auctions. Slaying. Not virgin as in your sexual virginity, but if you were coming to an event for the first time, we would look you in our we would sell your ass. But we would sell you for like dark and a twig. I did that on several occasions. So here you go. Cigarettes. Good one. I mean, you did. Well, I'll give you half a bottle full. That was it. 2 smokes in the shop. Okay, do I have anything done with it? So we started that. And it caught on. And the problem with that is that not everybody did it the way we did it. And eventually, the idea was to have somebody new be sold to somebody who had been there, and that they would be taken around and seen more from their perspective. It was a great way to be introduced to the event. And then you would come back and hang with us and see the way we did things as well. Because people from other camps came to the auction. Apparently, they turned a little bit dirty, like there were expectations. And originally exchanged sometime after I left. And that was the actual reason they banned the camp. But again, that was Deron's idea, by the way. Just so you know. I'll miss him. And I know he's here. And I'll explain to you what. We got in the car to come here. Oh, shit, I gotta get gas. Pull in the gas pump, stick gas pump at the tank, walk in the store. Bought myself a kickstart. Did a little extra caffeine going because I was kind of dragging ass. And I come back out and I go to turn off the pump and I went, you motherfucker, 666. And I just put number of the beast into the playlist right before we left. And I went, oh, thanks for letting me know. I'll see you there. For those of you, one last thing for me, Marin, Deron, and I all believe that part of where you go when you pass on has to do a lot with where you believe you will go. And it was very nice when he passed and Bella didn't mention that again while we were in the hospital. I said, well, I actually know what he wanted. He wanted to be a traveler. He wanted to travel wherever. If there was other places, other existences, he wanted to go. I said, I'll always come back. He says, but I'm going to go travel. So I know he's here with us today, and I know tomorrow he'll be off in some other freaking universe somewhere else if that exists. But he will be traveling around. So don't be surprised if you get a visit. They'll make it. Thank you all for coming. You don't have to go exactly yet. Keely's going to have a poem, and then we have the room till 5. We can chit chat, and then for those of you that know the mischief side of Tara, I have something over here in the corner for you to taste.